So guys, this is Robert. Guys, this is a cut that you're gonna see everywhere. It's that skin tight, almost like a parted pompadour, but a little bit different from that. But this is just a classic look for salt and pepper hair. And so guys, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna start with a nice center guideline up top, starting with the front and moving my way back. That way I keep that front exactly the length I want. And then I come around the back and I'm gonna start to pull that hair up and cut it even to my guideline. And the reason I'm kind of following a little bit more of his head shape instead of just cutting it flat to the top is to kind of create a little bit more dimension whenever it does roll over from that part. Going on the other side and doing the same thing. Guys, especially whenever you're starting off, this is just such an easy way to have a good way to track your guideline on top. Is start off with the center guideline, go to either side, match to that guideline. I'm pulling up his front fringe right there, being sure to cut some of that extra length off, making sure I'm having it curve and contour over to where we're going to have the fade. And so guys, what I'm doing is I'm putting this base layer with a 1.5 blade with my Andis Pulse ZR. Going through, and the reason I love using detachables for this is you can tell right away what a crisp finish that leaves us with. Being able to have a nice smooth surface to blend up to. And once again, this is kind of a cutting from the top to bottom or a blend down technique. Now there are clippers nowadays that can cut with the same kind of bulk removing power as a detachable, but there's something about that finish that blade leaves that a guard does not duplicate. Now guys, I'm taking a 1A blade, which is a step down from the 1.5, and I'm using clipper over comb. This is my favorite comb for that, which is the Oster styling comb. I'm going through and just kind of knocking off that edge as it moves up into that top length. Not finishing it up just yet, but just getting it close to where we need it to be. That will come later in the polishing portion of the haircut. And guys, I'm trying to show you as far as how I cut, about how I move around the head. Whenever I'm on one step, I bring that step all the way around the head. It is a little bit more of a hassle when it comes to filming, but if it shows you guys more of a real life haircut scenario, that's what I'm hoping to do. Now on this side, you can definitely see the way that his hair arches out. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing that up, being very careful not to go too high with it, and just kind of pushing that blend straight out. So whenever I have areas like that, guys, what I like to do is switch over to a softer cutting clipper, one that gives a little bit more forgiveness to it. And so I grabbed my original FX with a taper blade and just kind of barely buffing out those peaks. Coming through with some blending shears, some texturizing shears, and kind of hitting that bulk right there where the hair is meeting up. Now I'm going to set my bald guide, starting it off with the FX3. This thing just cuts through bulk like it's nothing. Balds out so well. Keeping that bald line nice and low, right underneath the occipital bone. Just kind of refining that guideline. I like to do this periodically throughout the haircut, is be sure I check off any hairs that I see on the ears. Just go ahead and shave those right off. And now I'm coming through with the Stylecraft Saber, which I do think cuts closer, finer than any other trimmer out on the market. And so I'm kind of following that up. So whenever it comes to trimmers with balding out, I kind of do a long trimmer and a short trimmer. And now I'm taking the one guard with the FX boost and just kind of pushing up into that, starting my next guideline. Moving up into that 1.5 that I had cut with the detachable. I'm not scooping up as much as I'm carrying that into that length that I just cut. And now I've got it no guard, fully open. Just kind of barely buffing that edge. And his hair's got a unique pattern with it. Down there in the back, he's got this big dark line of dark gray hair that's kind of hard to fully push out. Guys, now I'm taking my Gamma X Ergo, my favorite fading clipper, and just going through and got it all the way closed, just pulling out that FX3 line. Taking my sabers through and doing the same thing I did with the FX3, just being sure I make sure that his edges are exactly where I want them. Even on a bald fade, you got to be very careful of that. It's kind of starting on his vertical line of his beard back towards his ear. Guys, these sabers, they just cut through hair like it's nothing. It's ridiculous. Coming through and kind of doing some reverse blending on there, right there. Kind of softening that edge of his beard as it moves up into that bald area. Now I'm coming through with my X-Ergo, and another reason I like this clipper is not just for the fading, but for the ergonomics of how you hold it when it comes to certain methods of clipper over comb. It's so simple to get in there and soften this detail work. That blade, that vapor blade, is so precise. So everywhere where I want to take some edge off, take a little bit of hair off, this thing is just perfect for it. Just coming through and refining, doing my little float technique around those areas where the hair was kind of peeking out. Sometimes the best way to cut hair is exactly where it lays. So have it styled in the direction it's going to go. Then you can see the inconsistencies with where it's piling up, where it's tending to make too much of a mess, or have its little problems of hair sticking out, little peaks and valleys. And you can use that little floating technique just to kind of carve that down and smooth that out. Now guys, the Fat Master blade on my seniors is my favorite method of taking down eyebrows. Having that thing all the way out, it's just a little bit longer than 1.5, but not quite a 2. It's the perfect length for eyebrows in my opinion. Just blowing them off real solid. Grabbing some of that Tomb 45 indestructible clay. And guys, you're going to find that cutting hair like this is so easy whenever you keep it styled and blow dry it back in the method of which you're going to be styling it. Now for the best part of what I do, the classic neck shave. I don't feel like I've cut hair until I've done this. Nice hot steam towel. And guys, that's the cut. But guys, I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, and as always, I'll check you on the next one.